Hello beautiful friends, I hope you're all doing so incredibly well. So happy that the sun is finally coming out and I'm starting to feel alive, and it's all very exciting. But I'm really excited especially to be doing this video because I desperately need to unhaul so many books. I have gone through a lot over the last few months, some of the hardest months that I've ever gone through, and it's really just made me realize how short and precious life is. And I know that I've said this before, but I just don't want to spend my short and precious life reading nonsense or being surrounded by nonsense. And so if you're the kind of person who gets offended easily or who isn't okay with somebody having different opinions than you are, I would not recommend continuing this video because I am going to be giving my personal opinions on things, and I'm hoping we can all just be adults and be okay with that. But if not, then see ya. I realized that once I started to read fiction again a couple of years ago, I really went all in and just started like buying all the books that people said that I needed to read or that they recommended. I would get a book every month on Book of the Month, which I have since canceled my subscription because I realized that it's just feeding into feeling the need to buy books when I really don't. So I'm going to be getting rid of books that I'm really not interested in reading, that I haven't read yet, books that I've DNF'd, books that I just didn't like. I think the only exception I'm going to have is with a bunch of my thrillers, because I love thriller books, but I really have to be in the thriller mood to read them. But I know that I'm going to be getting rid of a lot of like romance books and a few fantasy and a few personal growth books as well, with concepts that I just no longer align myself with. So I don't want to spend too long yapping because I really want to get to it. But first of all, look how cool my sweater is. It says Jesus is King, and then it says it on the back, I don't know if you can see it all, in ASL, because my husband and I really want to start learning ASL because his dad has lost like his hearing a lot over the last few years, so it's just something that we've become very interested in. So anyway, I really love it. It's like the comfiest sweater I've ever worn in my life, and I'm really excited to get more stuff from them. It's by Sincerely by God, I think, and I will link them below. But anyway, so yeah, I'm just going to jump right in. So we're gonna start in this area, which is my romance area. I've just, like I said, I've become so picky over the last few months, especially as I haven't been reading that much fiction. I've been really focusing on like my spiritual growth, so I've been reading a lot of my Bible, and right now I'm reading Consider the Lilies by Johnny Arvanis, and it's so good. It's about like anxiety as a Christian and such, so highly recommend. But like I said, when I wanted to reach for a fiction book, I was like kind of convicted. I'm like, I don't really want to read about the stuff that's like in some of these books. So I'm gonna be throwing out like my smutty books, which I don't really have a lot, I don't think, and if I do, then I haven't read them yet, but that's kind of what I'm going to be tossing. So let's see here. First, Dating Dr. Dill. I have not read this, but I did see that it was smutty and salacious, and there was something in one of the reviews that I said something about like nicknaming his parts, and I'm like, let's not. Okay, so I just opened this book and the first thing I see is, oh my gosh. Oh, I don't want to read that out loud. Ugh. Nope. Ugh. Okay. Yeah, we're not, gross. Nope, not doing that. Okay. The Love Hypothesis. I cannot believe I just opened up to that page. It was smutty. It was, okay. And again, if you read smut, that's between you and the Lord, okay? I personally don't. I align it the same thing as the P word, which I am very, very, very much so against. And so that's just not, I don't think it's okay. I don't. I'm just gonna leave that there. Moving on, The Love Hypothesis. I read this a couple years ago. I loved the story, and I really loved, I think his name's Adam, right? I loved his character, but this was just very like pushy with, you could tell the author's opinions on a lot of things, whether it was politically or socially, and I just don't want to read about that, okay? I think what a lot of people would consider is like woke, very much so, and I did not like that at all. Plus there is a smutty scene in it. I remember I kind of like skipped through it pretty quickly because it wasn't like exceptionally nasty, but it was gross enough that I'm like, I don't really want to read that anymore. But there were a lot of really sweet moments. The romance was really sweet, but again, I just can't with very clearly telling where the author sits politically and socially, and it is very opposite of where I sit. So, which again, I'm cool with people having opposite opinions, but I just don't want to read fiction about that. You know what I mean? And for my book of the month books, I'll probably donate them to my local library because people don't buy book of the month books, I don't think, on Pango, which is where I'll be listing my other ones. Okay, the holiday swap, that one was cute. I think I'll keep that. Georgie All the Way, Well Met. Well Met's one of my favorite romances. There was a very short little spacey scene, but it was very skippable. I didn't mind that so much. Like, again, I don't love smut. I don't want it. If it's something that's like one page that I can just be like, okay, next. Then I don't mind it too much. Romantic comedy, have not read this. I don't think I've even opened it. Oh, lots of swear words right away when I open it. I don't love that. I don't know. I'm probably not gonna read it. I have other romance books that I want to read, so that's gonna go. Paradise Problem, Divine Rivals, let's see here. Colleen Hoover. I have not read either one of these books either. It Ends With Us and Verity. I've never read Colleen Hoover, and the more that I read about her, the less I want to read her books. So, It Ends With Us is gonna go. Verity, I heard / read that there was something about abortion in this book. That's a hard no for me, so that's going. Meet Me in Paradise, The Summer Broken Rule. Okay, let's see, Just Don't Fall. Love that book. The Mere Harbor series, I love it so much. Okay, so I haven't read The 7 Year Slip. Sunlight Girl, love that. Haven't read these two. The Unhoneymooners was okay. I liked that enough. I'll probably keep it. This is all the romance that I'm very much so looking forward to reading. So I've got my Jane Austen, Charlotte Bronte, and then all of my, well, I only have 2, Karen Kingsbury, and then all of my Francine Rivers. I loved Redeeming Love with my entire heart in every way, shape, and form. Loved it so much, and after that, I just decided to buy all of Francine Rivers' books, and I can't say I regret it or not because I haven't read any of them, but I'm going to read her Mark of the Lion series this summer, and I'm so excited because everybody I talk to who's read it say that it's one of, if not the best series they've ever read in their life. So I'm really excited about that, so I'm not going to toss any of those. A Lady, Journey to Bon Grace. Okay, so here's some that I'm going to toss. Okay, so Bear and the Nightingale, I DNF'd this because it started to feel very biased against Christianity, which if you're that way, okay, sure. I don't know. This was like a folklore story, which I know some people as Christians are highly against. I'm kind of like, don't take it on as your religion. You can still learn stuff from stories like that, but I don't know, my opinion might change. Regardless, I feel like this very much so painted Christianity in a negative light. Like the one Christian lady in the story was like insane. So I don't know. I just didn't love it. It gave me the ick and I DNF'd. Angelica Frankenstein Makes Her Match. I was informed by a friend that this is a little bit smutty and nasty, and then I looked at the reviews the other day, and obviously, like it says, Angelica Frankenstein, she's like a descendant, and she decides to make her own like monster or whatever, but she's like making her lover. Apparently there's like a whole chapter where they talk about what his parts are going to look like, and I don't want to read that. So this is going. And again with the Bear and the Nightingale thing, as far as folklore goes, I'm still like in the process of learning about my, sorry you can hear my rooster, he's so annoying. I had to smack him with a stick earlier because he attacked one of my dogs. Anyway, okay, thank you. Pray about it, have your own discernment, do not listen to me, obey the Holy Spirit. If you're not meant to have any books like that, then toss them, okay? I'm in a season of learning about stuff like that, okay? So, just, again, I don't ever want anybody to be like, well, Harmony does it, so I can do it. No, we're not listening to me, okay? Okay. Moving on. This next area is thriller stuff, and I do want to get rid of these two, Bunny and If We Were Villains. Bunny was just, I don't know, man. I was liking parts of it. I liked like the first half because it was weird and like cultish and like just really strange. And then it started to get really dark and kind of like demonic, and I was like, let's not. If We Were Villains, I was so disappointed in this story. Oh my gosh, I was expecting so much. I thought it was going to be an amazing dark academia, like mystery kind of a thing. It ended up being like a third Shakespeare quotes and 2/3 some guy struggling with his sexuality. So that was lame. And it's kind of funny because I feel like that book has like a cult of supporters. Like if you don't like If We Were Villains, then you don't understand good literature, and it blows my mind. But like I said, I was expecting a mystery, and that's not what we got. So to each their own, but I was disappointed. Well, Lies in the Woods, this kind of low-key sucked. This again was another one where you could kind of tell the author's views on stuff, and I'm just not about that life. La la la. Okay. Once There Were Wolves, I read this a couple years ago. Again, not my favorite. I didn't think it was very fun and exciting. It was educational, as far as like wolves go, but I feel like it focused more on that than like the mystery that was happening. Oh, I'm so excited to get rid of books. When the Stars Go Dark, this also kind of low-key sucked. This is kind of boring. Again, like I said, I'll probably keep most of my thrillers. Pirates, Ocean at the End of the Lane, Orphan Island, Once Upon a Wardrobe, my favorite book, tied with Redeeming Love. Coming Mrs. Lewis, The Outsiders. Okay, Lemony Snicket's Series of Unfortunate Events. Honestly, I'm not gonna read those. I'm just not. So I think they're gonna stay on my shelf for now, and then I'm going to gift them to my niece, who is like 15, I think. Emily Wild's Encyclopedia of Fairies, Caraval. I have not read the Caraval series yet. Very much so looking forward to it, so I'll keep those. And then this last section, I just got The Wishing Game sent to me by my friend Megan. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to read that. The Lost Bookshop, The Unexpected Chosen, which is like a Christian fantasy series. I'm really excited to get into those eventually. I was meaning to read them like last year, and then you know how that goes. Once Upon a Broken Heart, A Crown of Chains, Once I Knew, keeping all of those. And then my Six of Crows book, absolutely keeping. I read Six of Crows for the first time a couple months ago and I loved it so much. I'm really excited to read The Crooked Kingdom. My husband just read it like a month or two ago and he loved it, so I'm very, very excited to finish that series. Oh yeah, I forgot I missed one up here. Also gonna be getting rid of Foxglove King. This was a huge disappointment for me. I had DNF'd at 200 pages. I love stories about like cults and things like that. I think they're very interesting. But again, this was another one where it was very, very, very biased against Christianity. And I pick up on that stuff very easily. I know that most people can read fiction and it just goes right over their head, and that's great. Good for you. I'm not one of those people that can do that. It was very blatant and obvious, and it wasn't even Christianity, it was against Catholicism, and I'm not Catholic. Still, just the overall principle of kind of crapping on that religion was very, very upfront, and I understand authors are gonna write what they're passionate about and their stories and what they've gone through. I just feel like it could have been done in a different way. It wasn't like, this is what's wrong with the system, let's fix it. It was like, this is the system and it's wrong and it's messed up and that's how it is and they're evil. So it was kind of like you're kind of basing this on stereotypes. So anyway, I was not a fan, which was a bummer because I loved the cover. It's so gorgeous, but again, it was just too in your face for me. And then I'm also gonna get rid of Things in Jars. I've never read this either. I got it at a half-priced book, so I got it for fairly cheap. But it sounds interesting, but honestly, I'm not gonna pick it up. I need to be real with myself with a lot of these that I'm like, oh, it sounds good, and then I buy it, and then I'm like, I'm not gonna read that. Okay, moving down to this bottom shelf, definitely getting rid of No Exit. I thought this was a thriller when I first got it, and it's not. It's a horror. It was horrifying to read. Did not love it. The story was very good and interesting, but it was so graphic and disgusting and just more detailed than I wanted it to be. And yeah, it gave me the ick. Reckless Girls, this book was so stupid. I'm sorry, but there were a few quotes where I was like, that was kind of good, but the story was so dumb. I read it in one day, but like, I started my period that morning and I just like wanted to stay in bed and read books. So that's the only reason why. Hunting Party, hated this book. It starts out by telling you like somebody died, but they don't tell you who, but we all know who. The person who did it was kind of like, oh, interesting, but not interesting enough. All of the characters are super toxic. They're all like spoiled rich kids. I just don't love reading about that. And there was like a random gross, like almost kind of smutty, but just weird affair part. And I was like, okay, yeah, I don't want to read about that. These are some more like mystery thrillers, like One of Us is Lying, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. A few like dollar store finds. Like that just looks so cute. And I love mysteries, so why not? I'll probably, like I said, keep these. I don't know, if there's any on here that aren't good, please let me know, because I don't want to keep stuff that I'm just not going to enjoy, obviously. I'm getting rid of the Cruel Prince series. This series was trash. I'm sorry. This is another one of those series where it's like there's like a cult following. They think it's like the greatest fantasy series of all time, and I just don't get it. I thought it was so bad. The world building was so weird. The fantasy elements were so overdone. It's like it couldn't decide what kind of fantasy world it was. Again, you could very well pick up on the author's political stances, and romance is so toxic. Like, I'm sorry, especially as a YA romance series, like I don't want my 15-year-old daughter to be reading about a romance where the guy's like, tell me you hate me, and that's supposed to be romantic. Like, no. I love a good enemies to lovers, but it needs to change before there's like intimacy, like kissing and stuff like that. Like, that's just, no. Okay, moving on. And if I don't like the Cruel Prince series, is there like other books by Holly Black that are worth reading? Because I have Book of Night and The Stolen Heir. Do I keep those? Do I get rid of them? So I'm gonna keep these on my shelf for now because I'm going to gift them. They'll stay here for now, but just know I don't like that series. Ugh. So I think most of what I have left I'm gonna keep. Kingdom of Sweets sounds kind of interesting, could be a good winter read. Half Sick of Shadows, I heard that's kind of like feminine charged or like feminist charged, so I don't know. Green Glass House, Piranesi, Enchanted River, these are okay, I think. I'm gonna keep these. I think I'm gonna end up reading them. I also have a copy of For the Wolf by Hannah Whitten, who wrote The Foxglove King, and I don't know if that's kind of written with the same vibes as The Foxglove King or not. I'll keep it for now and try to read it this fall. There is a squirrel doing parkour on my bird feeder right now. Okay, last little section here, and this can get moved over by the thrillers. Only One Left by Riley Sager. I haven't read it yet, but my husband started it. Well, he read like the first page and was like, we'll see. And it's been a few months, so we'll see. A Wilderness of Stars by Shay Earnshaw. This was a 2-star for me. I will be listing this on my Pango. It is an autographed first edition. It comes with the little fan art of her. So Poison Thread. I talked about this as well as The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. I'll be getting rid of both of these. I started both of them and then DNF'd. I got 50 pages into this and it started out a little like whimsical, like talking about like planting certain plants for like good luck and stuff, which I'm like, don't love that, but we'll see how it goes. And then by page 50, they started talking about tarot cards and I was like, bye. Poison Thread, I didn't even start this. I like opened it up to the first page and then just had like a nudge in my spirit to check the trigger warnings, and apparently there's like a super traumatic birth scene and I don't want to read about that. As somebody who would love to have children one day, Lord willing, I don't want to put that in my mind. So that one is also going. Thankfully that one's from the dollar store, so it's not like I spent a bunch of money on it. I don't think I'm going to be getting rid of anything from here. I've got the Powerless series, which I haven't even read yet, and I have the 3 books and the other one is on its way. The only one I've read out of this stack is A Far Wilder Magic. I didn't love it. It was another one of those where it was like very clearly biased against Christianity again, specifically Protestantism. Each people group has like their own name, but it's very clearly meant to reflect Protestants, Catholics, and Jews. They all had a lot of stereotypes, specifically Protestantism and Catholics. So that was kind of like, don't love that. I found the story to be kind of interesting. It was supposed to be like an adventure fantasy and the adventure didn't happen till like the last 30 pages or something, so that was kind of lame, but maybe I'll just keep it for now and maybe gift it to somebody who won't see the parallels like I do. These are some of my personal growth books. I have a ton more in my office where I have like all my C.S. Lewis and more theological books. I think I am going to get rid of, excuse you, a few of these ones by the Beveres, just because they're not people that I want to follow theologically. And again, just because I have books on my shelves does not mean that I agree or align with them. There are a lot of old personal growth books that I don't necessarily agree with that I still have. Like, I'll probably get rid of this other one by Beveres. Down here I have a few more books. I think I'm going to get rid of these ones. So Own Your Everyday by Jordan Lee Dooley and Get Out of Your Head by Jenny Allen, because honestly I'm not going to read them. I started Get Out of Your Head by Jenny Allen and I found a lot of things that I disagreed with. For my other personal growth ones, I think I'm going to keep for now, and we'll see where we go. Well, this is the official unhaul. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 16, 17, 18, 19, 26 books. I'm excited to have more room on my shelves for books that I actually want to read. This wasn't as many books as I thought it was going to be. I do have quite a bit more room. Like I said, there are a couple other series on my shelves like the Lemony Snicket and the Cruel Prince that I'm keeping on my shelves, but I will be getting rid of. I haven't gone through all of my theology books. I know that I had added those few Bevere books on here, but I do have other ones here and in my office that I'll probably toss as well. I can see some over in that corner on another shelf that I have that I'll probably be getting rid of because I'm just not going to read them. I've become so picky with who I read spiritual growth books from, and I know that I have a lot of books that take a lot of things out of context and just in general are not biblical. So with all that said, thank you guys so much for being here and watching this ginormous unhaul. I'm so excited to get these out of here. Like I said, the book of the month ones I'll probably donate, but the rest of them will be listed on my Pango books, so please go buy them. I'll list them for very cheap. I'm excited to read just more pure and wholesome stories and things that I align with better. And while I do agree that it's good to read books that you necessarily don't agree with all the time, I'm just at a moment right now where, like I said, I just want to read more pure, wholesome stories. So I'm really looking forward to reading a lot more Francine Rivers books and other romance books that are just clean. Like I've become anti-smut, so I'm very excited to renew and refresh my taste and read better stories. So anyway, thanks so much for being here, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!